Hola, como estas, my brothers and sisters? So, today or tonight, because it's like 1 o'clock in the morning right now. Well, it still is the daytime. It's just real early. Today, I will be reviewing Resident Evil, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. Beat the game, and stuff like that. We'll be playing through this junk on Madhouse difficulty. So wish me luck on that, But beat the game and put together my thoughts, for what I think of the game, So this will be my review of Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. Is it worth the 60 bones? When this game came out, it did have a lot of hype around it. This is the next installment to the Resident Evil franchise. Again, I didn't really play Resident Evil growing up like that because I was too scared of Resident Evil. When Resident Evil was a survival horror game, sucker, I was not playing none of that junk. So I didn't really play this game growing up. I got really, once I, lost my fear of the game, I started playing this game like around, Resident Evil 5 and stuff like that. And like the more and more I play this game, I'm shocked because I always just thought Resident Evil was a game that was just about, there's a virus and like there's zombies out there and you have to like find a cure. But the more and more I play these games, because I've been playing, through 5, 4, 1 and stuff like that, this franchise has so much more story to tell than just zombies. Like, and when I found that out, it kind of shocked me. But anyways, this will be my review of Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. And yeah, just what I think of this game. So about to hop into this junk. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. Is it worth the 60 bones? Alright, so the story of Resident Evil 7 pretty much goes down like this without saying too much. You are playing as a guy named Ethan. One day you receive a voice message from your wife, Mia. Now, mind you, he hasn't seen his wife in like 3 years. So it's like, sucker, where have you been? And she just hits him up like randomly saying, hey, I'm in Louisiana. You can come pick me up if you want. It's like, if you haven't seen your wife or husband in 3 years and you find out they're alive and they're like, hey, pick me up here, it's like, sucker, what? But that's pretty much what happens. So once Ethan finds out, that his wife all this time is still alive, he's a shock, but of course he wants to see her. So he does make the decision to drive down to Louisiana, after she gives him the location of where she's supposed to be. So Ethan arrives at this location, and you can tell right off the bat, like, something ain't right. Because you like out in the middle of nowhere. It's like this abandoned house in like the woods and stuff. All the red flags are going off right now. Ethan decides to go in anyways, so he goes inside of this house, to look for his long lost wife Mia, and things ain't looking too normal inside of this house neither. All the red flags are going off like, sucker, you need to get out. But he decides to stay in, so he's exploring this abandoned house. Eventually he does come across Mia, and she doesn't appear, at least from the outside, that injured or hurt or nothing like that. She's a little dazed and confused, but she's still like in good shape. So they plan their escape. Come to find out, this chick Mia got let's just say she got some issues. Things are way worse with Mia than it appears to be. And not just that, the family, I guess, that has kidnapped her, the Baker family, these suckers is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So Ethan goes out of his way to save his wife that was gone for 3 years, and she hits him back up saying, hey, sucker, I'm here. Come and pick me up. This sucker decides to do that. Go to this house, and all of a sudden his life is about to his life is about to go absolutely downhill, and he is on a ride straight to hell, with the events that take place in the game. So that's pretty much, what, the base of the game is, without, saying too much of it. I thought this story was decent. I think it's a decent story. I will say, and if people came through my stream when I was streaming, like the second half of this story, I was saying that I thought the character development could have been a lot better. I didn't really necessarily have a problem with Ethan and his character, but not knowing how he looked, like you never even seen how this guy looks like, and his wife Mia, like there was no really like connection with these characters. I thought the character development could have been a little better, because even when you're going through the game, knowing that Mia is your wife is just like, why am I doing all this for her? Because you don't really like know too much about Mia. And yes, in the tapes they have in the game, like you can play through the like tapes and have flashbacks and stuff, and see like a little backstory of how Mia got in the situation that she's in. But even with that, like there just wasn't enough character development with her, and like Zoe, and all these. I thought what they did with the Baker family, like towards the end when you really found out, what was really going on, I thought that was good. But I did think, as far as like what Ethan was doing throughout this entire story and all the stuff that he was going through to save Mia, I thought they could have added more like emotion and drive to make you want to go out your way and save Mia. Because to be honest with you, I didn't care about Mia. I really didn't care too much about Mia. Zoe, like I just thought the character development could have been better, mainly with those two characters in particular. Ethan, I didn't really have a problem have a problem with him. Not knowing, how he looked wasn't really like a huge factor to me, but I thought the voice acting could have been a little more convincing. Like there's times when like you get stabbed and then he's just like, Mia, stop. I'm like, suck it, you just got stabbed. He's just like, Mia, stop. I know Resident Evil has never been known for its voice acting, but I just thought in some instances it could have sounded a little bit more convincing. Like, suck it, if you getting your hand stabbed or you getting chainsaw, like you should be screaming. This guy was just like, stop, Mia, please. But as far as the character development with mainly Mia and then Zoe too, like I just thought like you needed to know more about them, and they needed to have more background story, for you to really feel like this is why Ethan is going through all of this, to save these, characters. And I didn't really feel that personally, for a good chunk of this game, But yeah, the story, I think I beat it on my first playthrough in like, I think it was like 11 hours, so it's like 11 hours, 9, 10, 11 hours. And then once you beat it, you can play it on Madhouse difficulty. I will be doing that. The graphics in this game are really good, from the lighting to the textures. This is pretty much the best Resident Evil game that I've seen from a graphical standpoint. The amount of detail they have in this game, you really get to see just how detailed the environments are as you're going through this game. So the game really looks good from a graphical standpoint. I think also it is PS4 Pro enhanced, so I'm sure it looks better, on the PS4 Pro. Let's get to the gameplay. I really dug the gameplay in this game, man. I really did. I like the direction that they took with this game. It kind of feels a little, and I know I said this in my first impressions, and maybe some people got, what I said a little misconstrued or something like that. Resident Evil 7 is not like just an Outlast clone. Like it has some Outlastish, aspects about the game, that are kind of, make you think of Outlast, especially, going from, some of the previous titles. But this still feels like a Resident Evil game. There's just some stuff about it that, reminds you of Outlast. And when I said that in my first impressions, I think some people like brought up like this is like more like, you know, the classic Resident Evil feel games. I wasn't trying to say this is like a clone, you know, of Outlast, so I didn't want to get that like misconstrued or nothing. This still feels like a Resident Evil game as far as like the gameplay goes, you know, but being in first person, sometimes having, you know, the best choice is to run away, you know, from whatever's chasing you. It just kind of feels like Outlast at some point, you know, but gameplay wise, I really enjoyed this game. The atmosphere of this game and just the tone and vibe that it gives you sometimes, the jump really does feel creepy, and that's what I liked about this game, because Resident Evil, it almost seems like as the franchise was progressing, it was getting like less and less about, you know, being a horror game, you know, and it wasn't as scary, you know, as some of the, you know, classic titles were, you know. This game is scary. Is it like survival horror to where it's like, bruh, like the classic Resident Evil? No, but this game is like kind of slowly returning to the roots of Resident Evil being scary. So I like that. I liked the atmosphere of this game. I liked the tone of this game. You know, the gameplay was good. You know, it kind of, again, it kind of does feel like Outlast with weapons, but I'm not saying it's a clone, you know, of Outlast. It just kind of has some aspects about, you know, but, you know, you can pick up guns and stuff like that, and of course shoot suckers, you know, and find items and combine them together to use them to your advantage. You got puzzles in this game and stuff like that. I really liked what they did, you know, with the gameplay. You know, I think this is this the first Resident Evil that was in first person? I'm not sure, but I honestly enjoyed playing Resident Evil in first person. At least this is the first one that I've played in you know, in a first person. I thought it felt pretty good, you know, and the boss fights they had in this game, I thought those were good, you know. I really liked what they did in this game, especially going from the last Resident Evil 6. Some people actually liked Resident Evil 6 that I found out, but Resident Evil 6, I think we can all agree and say that game was more so about action, you know, as opposed to survival horror, you know, and I think that's why a lot of people didn't really like 6, you know. It seems like with this one, they're trying to, you know, kind of get back on track with what this franchise used to be, and that's what I like about it, you know. So I think Resident Evil 7 was a solid game, man. I don't regret buying this game at all. I would give this game an 8 out of 10. I really did enjoy playing through this game. I will play it on Madhouse difficulty as well, you know. As far as like replay value, because it is a single player game only, if you're one of those gamers to where once you beat a game you're never going to go back and play it, then maybe this should be a game that you would rent. But you do have the Madhouse difficulty in this game. You also have the banned footage stuff, you know, that you can buy, you know, because I think they released that junk the same week that Resident Evil 7 came out, so it also does have some you know, some DLC right now. And I also think next month they're also releasing another DLC, but that's going to be for free. So they you know, they are adding some more stuff to this game, you know, to where if you're finished with the game, you know, you do have some more content to look forward to. So I definitely would say that this is at least worthy of one playthrough. You know, if you're, again, one of those gamers to where you need a multiplayer, I'd say, you know, this is a game that you should at least play through one time, and I think you'll have a good time with it. So I'd give Resident Evil 7 an 8 out of 10. You know, really enjoyed the game. It was a solid game in my opinion. That's my review of Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. Enjoyed the game, and I can't wait for the future content that they have with the game. And yeah, man, hope you guys enjoyed this review. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, I greatly appreciate it if you rate the video, my brothers and sisters. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up. It could be a thumbs down, but what I do ask every brother and every sweet, sweet sister is to just rate the video, my brothers and sisters. Until then, I'm about to play this junk on Madhouse Madhouse difficulty, fam. Wish me luck.